A very good evening and welcome to the news tonight here on Rajya Sabha TV. I'm Tracy Shilshi, getting you the day's top stories from India and across the world. Let's start with the headlines. The winter session of Parliament to start from the 26th of November. Many important reform legislations like GST, the Land Bill and others are slated to come up. BJP admits it failed to read into the strength of the Grand Alliance as it began post-mortem of the huge loss in Bihar. Rumblings continue within party over the other possible reasons. Markets react to Bihar election results after falling nearly 600 points during the day. Sensex trims most of its losses to end 144 points down. In other news, ruling party concedes defeat in Myanmar. Aung San Suu Kyi's National League for Democracy is all set to sweep to power after winning all 12 seats declared so far. And BCCI removes N. Srinivasan from the ICC top job by replacing him with board president Shashank Manohar for the rest of his term. The winter session of Parliament will start from the 26th of November. The session will happen in the backdrop of the BJP's massive defeat in Bihar yesterday. The government is now hoping that the opposition does not use the verdict to paralyze functioning of the House.
The Cabinet Committee of Parliamentary Affairs met on Monday to decide dates for the winter session. Parliament will convene with a special two-day sitting on 26th and 27th November to discuss the Constitution and Dr. B.R. Ambedkar's contribution to the nation.
To commemorate the acceptance of the Constitution through Constituent Assembly, we have decided that special sittings of both the houses separately on 26th and 27th. First 2 days there won't be any question hour. And then the winter session continues up to 23rd of December, depending on the exigencies of the government.
The government is also expected to make all-out efforts to reach out to the opposition for passage of key bills like the GST. It also urged parties not to interpret the election results as a mandate to disrupt Parliament. Parliamentary Affairs Minister Venkaiah Naidu said all parties need to enable Parliament to pass the reform measures.
Bihar verdict is a clear statement of their aspirations. It should not be interpreted as a mandate to obstruct Parliament.
Opposition parties, including the Congress and the left, have spelled out their own agendas during the session.
We, the CPIM, in a special resolution in our party Congress, have demanded a special standalone session to mark Baba Sahib Ambedkar's 125th birth anniversary, and that session should discuss the current status of the implementation of the slogan for social justice, what we have done with the reservations, how effective, what is the current condition of the social justice for the Dalits, Adivasis, the marginalized sections, etc. But the government has not either circulated an agenda or even informed what it's going to discuss these 2 days.
Let us see which are the bills and how they are going to affect the common people, workers. We'll see. We'll examine all those things and we'll call a party meeting. In the party meeting, we'll decide which should be our priorities.
The winter session comes in the backdrop of the Bihar election results that have been a huge setback for the ruling BJP-led NDA at the centre. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
All right, for more on this story, we join Mr. K.V. Prasad, who's the associate editor with the Tribune. Mr. Prasad, before Bihar, the elections, of course, started, there were indications that perhaps the government may actually prepone the session, but clearly it's good to keep a little of a gap after these elections, of course.
Yeah, in fact, the Cabinet Committee on Parliamentary Affairs was to meet before and take a call to probably start as early as 15th of November or 17th of November. That's what one heard in political circles. But surely because of Bihar and the election results, they kind of put that on hold. And now, but it's not unusual. Parliament always traditionally has been meeting in the last week of November.
Yes.
Till about 2 to 3 days before the Christmas holidays begin, because allowing members of parliament to go back to their respective constituencies and celebrate Christmas and also the year as it follows.
Yeah.
So that's not surprising. In terms, and 4 weeks is usually a legislative session for the government to bring lots of bills it plans to bring. So I think I'm not surprised with the timing at all in that sense of a term.
Yes, but then the key question is, would there be any work that eventually will take place? Will we see a repeat of the monsoon session?
Well, you see, last 2 sessions have been difficult certainly for the government to get its agenda through, and largely because the opposition has a point of view. And of course, everybody knows that the government has the numbers in Lok Sabha where it doesn't need any, on its own strength, it can get a bill passed. And then, of course, with the allies, it has comfortable majority. And of course, in Rajya Sabha is just the reverse. So there's no way they can push anything they want to. Here comes the spirit of accommodation that political parties always look forward. And as they say, politics is the art of possibilities. The government, once it decides on priorities as to how it needs to push forward an agenda, it can always work around the opposition. I remember even in the days of Atal Bihari Vajpayee, when he was the Prime Minister, on many key issues when there was a stalemate, there was the time when the Prime Minister himself would meet the leader of opposition or leaders of opposition, as the case may be, and try and, but before that, the parliamentary managers would have worked out a solution and come, and then it was finally agreed to the leaders' meeting, okay, this is how we are going to go forward. The same thing happened during Dr. Manmohan Singh's time. So I'm not saying that it cannot happen. It certainly can happen.
Yeah.
But a lot would depend on the kind of approach the government would have. Because, for instance, there's a talk of the Goods and Services Tax Bill.
Yes.
Now, that's a very key bill for the government. And remember, the bill was brought by the Congress government when it was in power. It's a bipartisan support. But then in between, things have changed because I think certain amendments were made which are not acceptable to the Congress party.
Yes.
And the Congress party has numbers in Rajya Sabha.
And talking about, yes, and talking about really those numbers in Rajya Sabha, and because Bihar is going to have such a big bearing, of course, on the winter session, if you could just stay on with us, Mr. Prasad, we'd like to take this story as well, where today, of course, Prime Minister Narendra Modi did chair the BJP's parliamentary party meet to discuss that impact of that mammoth defeat in Bihar. After the meeting at the party headquarters, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley, in fact, admitted that underestimating the strength of the Grand Alliance was perhaps one of the main reasons for their huge loss. However, the party held no one responsible from the BJP or RSS for the debacle.
BJP started a whole new week going back to the drawing board on Monday after the massive defeat in the Bihar assembly polls. For the past 24 hours, there have been rumblings within the party over the possible reasons behind its drubbing. One of them was RSS chief Mohan Bhagwat's remark on caste that triggered reactions during the polls. Even allies have been scathing in their attacks.
फिर आई बात कि साहब यहाँ पटाखा छूटेगा पाकिस्तान में अगर जीत होगी उनकी, तो इससे भी हुआ कि वो जानबूझ करके हम लोगों को टीज करते हैं और जानबूझ करके लोग एनडीए के साथ लोग चले गए।
इस आरक्षण के मामले में माननीय संघ प्रमुख के बयान ने बिहार के लोगों को अंतर से हिला दिया। 90% पिछड़े वर्ग के लोगों को एकजुट कर दिया, आक्रामक कर दिया, और उनके साथ साथ उसमें जो मुस्लिम समुदाय के लोग थे वो भी इस आक्रामक एकजुटता में के साथ अपने को जोड़ लिया।
आरक्षण के आज की जो विद्यमान पद्धति इसकी पुनः समीक्षा की जानी चाहिए और जो राजनीति से दूर लोग रहते हैं ऐसे विद्वानों ने समाज चिंतक जो है उन्होंने करनी चाहिए। इतने उनका कहने का मतलब था। इस उनके वक्तव्य को तोड़ मरोड़ कर ये बात सही है कि लालू प्रसाद और नीतीश कुमार ने उसको पेश किया और उसका उनको लाभ हुआ।
Before BJP's top 12 leaders met to discuss the crushing defeat, party chief Amit Shah met RSS chief in Delhi to discuss the reasons behind it. According to reports, Shah said that BJP's inability to present a credible backward leader as its face was a key reason. However, the party later admitted that underestimating the strength of the Grand Alliance was a bigger mistake.
कि 2014 के लोकसभा चुनाव में महागठबंधन के तीनों घटक आरजेडी, जेडीयू और कांग्रेस पार्टी अलग अलग से चुनाव लड़े थे। चुनाव में ये तीनों एक दूसरे का अपना टोटल वोट ट्रांसफर नहीं करवा पाएंगे। वो अनुमान और आकलन हमारा गलत था।
Jaitley also indicated that the poll loss would not impact the possibility of Amit Shah not getting a second term as BJP president. There was also no words of any action against rebels who have been speaking out against the party. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, Mr. K.V. Prasad still continuing to be with us. Mr. Prasad, obviously it was expected. Nobody is going to be taking personal blame, of course, for this loss. The party is not going to name anybody. But it's interesting that, now the allies, of course, naming one particular comment, if not a person, and that, of course, on that reservation comment that we saw from Mr. Mohan Bhagwat.
Well, I think the BJP has already made itself very clear that they're going to look at the results dispassionately. Of course, RSS chief's comments has been commented upon not just by the BJP and some of the leaders, the alliance leaders and their friends. That certainly had a bearing is what the indications are if you look at the analysis of the results that came in. And not just the results, in fact, in the run-up to the elections and the campaign, the fact that the oppositions in the form of JDU and RJD picked it up and pushed it through.
Yes.
It was like that fear factor was certainly very high. And remember, Bihar has a huge component of people coming from backward caste and other backward castes. In fact, it was during Nitish Kumar's time, he talked of the Ati Pichhada Varg, the extra economically backward classes.
Yes.
So this is all, knowing those ground realities, if such a statement comes from a person of Mr. Bhagwat's persona and stature in terms of the chief of RSS, it obviously must have created certain amount of doubts in the people's mind.
Yes.
But is that the factor alone? It's too early and too simplistic to convert it in that way. But certainly this was an issue as we read reports after reports coming from the ground.
All right. Mr. Prasad, thanks so much for joining us, discussing, of course, this big picture. Bihar, of course, still remaining, of course, on the minds of everyone at the moment. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll have to see eventually what happens in winter session. Meanwhile, BJP leader Shatrughan Sinha, who didn't figure in his party's Bihar poll strategy, met State Chief Minister Nitish Kumar a day after the BJP's loss. Heaping praises, Sinha termed Nitish Kumar as the tallest leader of the state. Later, he also called on RJD Supremo Lalu Prasad and congratulated him on the grand comeback. Though Sinha termed it a personal meet, it has only lent credence to rumours that he might quit the BJP soon and join the JDU-led government. Speaking to the media, the BJP leader also called for action against those responsible for the party's rout in Bihar. The BJP, meanwhile, is contemplating action against him for speaking against senior party leaders publicly.
बिहार की प्रगति के मामले में, सुशासन के मामले में नीतीश बाबू का बहुत जबरदस्त योगदान रहा है। नीतीश बाबू जो हैं ट्राइड, टेस्टेड और सक्सेसफुल चीफ मिनिस्टर रहे हैं। मेरी नजरों में सबसे सम्मानीय, सबसे आदरणीय, सबसे ज्यादा बढ़िया व्यक्ति या व्यक्तित्व नीतीश कुमार है।
बिहार के चुनाव को प्रभावित करने के लिए शत्रुघ्न सिन्हा जी ने उस समय पे बयान दिए और उस पैकेजिंग के वो बयान हिस्सा बन गए और पार्टी निश्चित रूप से कार्यवाही करेगी। हमारी पार्टी में सब वरिष्ठ लोग बैठे हुए इन सब चीजों को देख रहे हैं।
Meanwhile, markets recovered today after falling by as much as 600 points earlier in the day. BJP's massive loss in Bihar assembly polls on Sunday triggered a huge sell-off during early trade. Experts say that markets were disappointed with BJP's loss, which could eventually impact the reform push by the centre.
BJP's Bihar loss clouded the markets as well on Monday. The Sensex and Nifty fell sharply, reacting to the loss of the party in the state elections. The Sensex fell by nearly 600 points in early trade, spreading panic of yet another huge sell-off. The Nifty also fell below the 7,800 mark. The rupee also fell sharply by over 70 paise to hit 66.50 in morning trade.
Main reason बिहार चुनाव का जो नतीजे आए उसने मार्केट को उम्मीद नहीं थी कि इतने खराब आएंगे। लग रहा था टफ कंपटीशन है, कट टू कट है, लेकिन एनडीए बहुत बुरी तरह से हारा ये इलेक्शन। उसका हम आज मार्केट पे असर दिखाई दे रहा है।
The BJP's defeat in Bihar has also raised worries about the Modi government's ability to pass key reforms like the GST bill, given the ruling coalition lacks a majority in the Rajya Sabha. Disappointment over the pace of reforms has affected the momentum in the share markets, which are down about 14% since hitting a record high in March.
And the markets were living in a hope that they would perform well and BJP would have numbers in Rajya Sabha, which numbers could have helped BJP push through all the bills like land bill, GST bills and other bills which were in the pipeline. Now what the markets I think perhaps they think is that now perhaps BJP, it would be difficult for them to get through with some crucial legislations in the Rajya Sabha.
However, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley sought to de-link the poll outcome with economic reforms. He said pace of reforms will remain unaffected, providing much-needed support to market sentiments. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha Television.
Without a quick break here, still ahead, we're getting international news and riots break out at Australia's Christmas Island Detention Centre. Details ahead.
आजादी के बाद कैसे बदला परिवेश, कैसे बनी संसद, कैसे उठा देश.
When the world sleeps, India will awake to life and freedom.
कौन थे वो लोग जो दे गए हमको शानदार विरासत, लोकतंत्र की मजबूत इमारत. राज्यसभा टेलीविजन.
Welcome back. You're watching the news tonight. Let's get you more news. And addressing the Foundation Day celebration of the National Legal Services Authority in New Delhi, Prime Minister Narendra Modi stressed on the need for timely upgradation of the country's legal system. Referring to the Supreme Court retaining the collegium system to appoint judges, Modi said that every institution must evolve with times. The Supreme Court had quashed the National Judicial Appointments Commission that would have thrown open the decision-making process. Modi hailed the legal fraternity for extending free legal services to millions of people. He also suggested that rendering free legal aid to poor should be a criteria in selection of judges. The Prime Minister also called for greater legal awareness among the masses.
कोई भी इंस्टीट्यूशन एक ही ढर्रे में नहीं रह सकती है. समयानुकूल उसमें बदलाव अनिवार्य होता है. सोचने के तरीके बदलने की आवश्यकता होती है. पुरानी चीज उत्तम ही है, इसलिए उसको हम हाथ नहीं लगाएंगे. इससे बात बनती नहीं है.
With that, let's get you more updates from across the country and nationwide. The government today approved 1,100 crores under the National Disaster Relief Fund for Karnataka and Gujarat, which recently faced drought and floods. The decision was taken at a high-level meeting for central assistance to states affected by natural disasters today under the chairmanship of Home Minister Rajnath Singh. The Srinagar-Leh National Highway was reopened for traffic today 4 days after it was closed due to heavy snowfall. Snowfall had blocked the Jozila Pass and other places along the route on the 5th of November. The authorities have also cleared the snow on Mughal Road, the alternate road link connecting the Kashmir Valley. India today successfully test-fired its nuclear-capable strategic ballistic missile Agni-4 from the newly named Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Island off the Odisha coast. The missile is capable of hitting a target at a distance of 4,000 kilometers. It was the 5th trial of the Agni-4 missile. Nestle India today started selling Maggi noodles 5 months after it was banned. The Food Safety and Standards Authority of India banned the sales this June after they found dangerously high levels of lead in it. Nestle has though partnered now with online marketplace Snapdeal for the rollout. Our international news, and Aung San Suu Kyi's National League for Democracy is set to sweep to power in Myanmar, with indications now of a massive vote swing in the party's favour and the ruling party conceding defeat. The NLD has won all 12 seats for which results have been announced so far, needing a 2/3 majority to wrest control. Here's a report.
The end of military rule in Myanmar likely in the offing. As early results trickle in, the head of the ruling party concedes defeat, with the parliamentary speaker following suit. Aung San Suu Kyi's opposition National League for Democracy has won all 12 of the seats, for which results have been officially announced so far, with expectations of a landslide victory.
ရွေးကောက်ပွဲကြီးဟာတည်ငြိမ်အေးချမ်းတဲ့ရွေးကောက်ပွဲဖြစ်တယ်တည်ငြိမ်အေးချမ်းစွာရွေးကောက်ပွဲကျင်းပနိုင်ခဲ့တဲ့ဆိုတာကိုတွေ့ရှိရမှာဖြစ်ပါတယ်
It's some way to go yet. The military already controls 25% of the seats in the nearly 1100-member House. NLD has to secure 2/3 of the seats in Parliament to reach power. Reports say they're on track for just, with indications of a high vote share and a rout for the ruling party. Under the rules, Myanmar's biggest leader and Nobel laureate Aung San Suu Kyi cannot become president herself. The constitution bars anyone with foreign children from holding the post. However, there are strong indications that she would continue to pull all strings. Myanmar had gone to polls on Sunday, the country's first free national elections in 25 years. Observers say the voting process was smooth with some irregularities. The turnout has been estimated at about 80%. A final vote count can only be expected by Tuesday, and the new leader is expected to be named sometime early next year. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And now let's get you some more international news updates in Global Buzz. A disturbance broke out today at Australia's Christmas Island detention centre. Inmates lit fires amid widespread unrest prompted by the death of an Iranian detainee. Fences were also torn down, forcing guards to abandon their posts. Christmas Island Centre holds asylum seekers from war-torn regions in the Middle East and Asia. Interior ministers of the EU member states will meet in Brussels today to discuss the ongoing migrant crisis. This comes as an attempt to formulate a long-term policy to handle the current refugee crisis. Today's meeting will be followed by a two-day summit in Malta between European and African leaders. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu arrived in Washington on Sunday ahead of talks with US President Barack Obama. The two heads will meet at the White House for the first time today since the signing of the Iran nuclear deal. Netanyahu hopes the talks will help outline a new 10-year military aid package for his country. Now, in a major cricketing development today, the Board of Control for Cricket in India, or the BCCI, has removed N. Srinivasan as ICC chairman after it decided to recall him and nominate its recently elected president, Shashank Manohar, as the chief of the world body.
The decision to remove Srinivasan was taken at BCCI's 86th annual general meeting in Mumbai today, virtually signalling the end of his hold on Indian cricket. The BCCI will now recommend this change to ICC.
I would like to inform you that the BCCI representative to the ICC will be Mr. Shashank Manohar, and being the virtue of the board representative in the ICC, he will take over as the ICC chairman.
The tenure of Srinivasan, who took over in June last year, was to end next year in the same month, and the remainder of the term would be completed by Shashank Manohar, as it is India's turn to hold the top position. In case Manohar cannot attend the ICC meetings, Sharad Pawar will be India's representative.
There is a system in the ICC that every country has to nominate an alternate director. Because suppose somebody is not able to attend a meeting on a particular day, then the alternate director has to attend that meeting. So Mr. Pawar has been nominated as an alternate director.
With his sacking as ICC chairman, Srinivasan now only remains the president of Tamil Nadu Cricket Association. His company, India Cements, had owned the IPL franchise Chennai Super Kings, which was suspended for 2 years after its officials were held guilty of betting. Among the other developments following the conclusion of the AGM, Raju Binni was removed as the national selector, and Ravi Shastri was also removed from the IPL Governing Council in the board's effort to battle conflict of interest among board officials. Rajya Sabha MP Rajiv Shukla was retained as the IPL chairman. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And that's all we have for you on the news tonight. Thanks so much for joining us.